Hi, today is January 2nd, 2026, and here are my poems for the day. The first one is poem number 6 for the year, In the Branches. In the branches I see chaos, crazed dancing, barbed wire, a playground, slides, jungle gyms, striving, reaching, yearning, playing, hand-holding, fucking, fighting, furious violin music, arcs, circles, tendrils, capillaries, fractals, arrows, signs, warnings, open arms, welcomings, invitations to live and love, to do and to be and to all against a backdrop of what Paul Simon called Dazzling Blue. In the branches I see everything I would ever want to see and more. Poem number 7, In the Trenches. He prayed and prayed in the trenches, and he felt guilty about it because he had never really prayed before. He had always thought praying was a waste of time because there was no such thing as God. But there he was, praying to God because suddenly he wanted God to be there. Suddenly he wanted God to exist. He was concerned that God would know that he was only praying to God because he was desperate, and that God would ignore his prayers because God would believe that he was being hypocritical and insincere. But then he felt the presence of God. He felt God enter into his hungry heart, and God filled his heart with love and hope. He wondered whether God would punish him later for his prior lack of faith. But eventually he would see that God doesn't work like that. Poem number 8, In the Trenches. Buried in the trenches of the collateralized debt obligations and credit default swaps was all the information an investor would need to know enough to avoid such foolish investments. If only there were more investors that would get in the trenches and discover the truth instead of listening to their investment advisors who were betting against these complicated investment vehicles and helping to force them to crash. This is the ballad of The Big Short. If you haven't seen the movie, see the movie. Poem number 9, In the Lunches. The old joke, which I have updated, goes like this. After 5 hours on the construction site, it was time for their lunch break, and Gladys opened up her lunchbox and said, "A hummus sandwich again. Bertha, I can't tell you how tired I am of hummus sandwiches and the lunches every single goddamn day." Then Bertha said, "Why don't you tell Cuthbert to make something else for your lunch instead?" And Gladys replied, "I can't do that because I make these lunches myself." Bertha said, "Oh," and Gladys said, "But all the same, when I get home tonight, there's going to be hell to pay. I'm going to bend that boy over and give him a sound thrashing." Bertha said, "Sounds like fun." And Gladys said, "It will be, but not for Cuthbert." And the last poem of the day, poem number 10, In the Hunches. In the hunches that she often had, there was a lot of insight and a lot to rely on. If she had a hunch about something 99 times out of 100, her hunch would prove to be correct. People wondered what it was in the hunches that she had that made them so consistently accurate. And of course, if anyone had the kind of hunches that she had, then they might venture to guess. All right, that's it. Thank you. I appreciate you.